Now, do people have to be signed up through the system, or can I message the Zoom link to somebody right now?
Yeah, you can just message them the Zoom link.
Okay.
I'll put that in the chat right now too, unless you probably already have it. But there it is. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you for being here. The first official Field Team 6 Iowa call. I'm very psyched about this. So yeah, you know, I was a TV writer for 18 years, and then Trump happened, and that broke my mind and heart, and I needed to get into the fight all day, every day. So I volunteered with Swing Left for a year, and oh, my dog has to go out. and you know, with our, well, I learned how to register voters. And learned that there was such a thing as organizing, and that I could channel my Trump rage into positive conversations with strangers, and that's all you need to do to change the world. So that changed my life, and I got totally addicted to that. Then I got my first paid political job with the California Democratic Party, and with our army of volunteers who are 70 to 100% women, depending on the day. You might notice 100% women today, besides me. The voter drive I was at this morning was all women besides me. Women are the resistance, not just in California, across the country. It's really true. It's super inspiring and also crazy.
You know, it's interesting because, I mean, we're just as much of the workforce as anybody else. I don't know. Maybe it's just that maternal, like, oh my God, our children. I don't know what's going, you know, I don't know.
I've heard that theory, you know, because I've asked a lot of people. I've heard that a lot. Like mothers take care of things. They get the job done. They do what needs doing. Yeah, maybe
From
that's
Mothers
it.
Against Drunk Driving on, right?
Right.
That's what got that all changed. Completely changed all, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and women are the ones coming out day after day and week after week, month after month, getting it done. From the, you know, since the Women's March, that was the starter pistol for the resistance, you know, biggest day of protest in world history, to the epic wins that we scored this last November, 1 year ago, when we took back the House. We needed 23 seats to win it. We got 40. Most Democrats swept into office during a midterm election since just after Watergate, tellingly. And, you know, and then more recently, as you know, 2 weeks ago or so, we won both state houses in Virginia, preventing gerrymandering there for a decade, and also won the governor's mansion in Kentucky. There's a Democratic governor in Kentucky, Andy Beshear, right? And he won by 5,000 votes. That is a field margin. That's what's called a field margin. It's the amount that we can affect an election's results by our actions in the field, meaning voter registration, canvassing, phone banking, postcarding, you know, text banking, all of that. So that is all of that. And of course, Louisiana, where we reelected the only Democratic governor in the Deep South in one of the most Republican states, Louisiana, you know? Amazing. So all of that is validation of the resistance and of activism and of the idea that talking to strangers is how you change the world. Oh, Heather Anderson. Hello. How you doing?
I just messaged Heather, so I'm so glad you got my message.
Hey, nice. Hey. Instant results. How you doing?
It was instant. I'm like, oh yeah, that's now.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect time. We're just getting
think about how I'm thinking, like, you know, oh my God, thank God they reminded me.
Yeah.
But awesome. All my classes are through these for where I'm going to grad school. So that's where I have my little headphones. I don't have to wear them on, but that's.
Where are you in grad school, Heather?
San Jose State.
Okay, cool.
In the library science program.
Oh wow, how wonderful.
So
awesome.
So much in common. I'm back in school to get my social work master's.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm from Iowa. Yeah, we have so much in common. Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's very cool. So Heather, you're
We have the
from
same
Iowa too?
glasses. No,
Yeah, I
but I'm from
know.
Iowa.
Yeah,
I'm
look,
from Des Moines.
I have pink glasses on. So
I can't tell you apart. It's a good thing you have your names on the thing.
But yeah,
So that's awesome. So you're both thinking of going back to Iowa,
yes.
or at
I
least
will
temporarily?
I mean, temporarily. I mean, for a temporary visit, not.
definitely be there the Wednesday before the caucus is on. So I'll be there Wednesday through the Monday of the caucuses are on Monday. Then I leave early Tuesday morning. So and I'm planning to be in Des Moines and Ames, but if something's going on anywhere else, I told my brother because we're kind of going there to my mother's in long-term care and my dad like sees her every day and so we just basically spend as much time just sitting in her room and she's got memory loss so it's it's a little hard but and then but we can just take breaks from that and I can shoot it's not too hard to get anywhere in the state really
No, it's not.
get to the corners of the state is a little bit more of a trek but even then it's only like 4 or 5 hours tops. So
right. And you can do this wherever you are in Iowa. That's the thing. So like, well, actually, I'll get into Iowa. I want to do just a big picture thing real fast. So Field Team 6, we've since we with our volunteer army, we were able to register over 6,000 progressive voters across the 5 swing districts of Southern California.
That's amazing.
And help flip those. That was, that's the proudest work I've ever been part of, and since then my job with the party ended, but it would be insane to just throw out all the lessons we learned by doing voter registration for 15,000 hours, so you learn a lot of really quirky, weird, useful things that need to get passed on so people can keep doing this. The midterms, that was the biggest battle of our lives. And since then, this is now the sequel, this is for all the marbles. We got the House. So, since the midterms, I co-founded with my co-organizer, Field Team 6, pictured here, eagle with a clipboard and 2 pens, with, our stated goal, registered Democrats, save the world, so that we could go big and continue this training on a national level. And so since we've been out in the field, thank you, Miranda. Since we've been out in the field in March of this year, we have built 18 chapters across 7 states, and we just registered our 15,000th voter a week and a half ago. Yeah, working on 20,000 now. And we're trying to be in 11 states total by the end of the year if possible. Don't know if that's possible, but that's our goal. Those 7 states we're in right now, I'll put them in the chat. And yes, if you know anyone in any of these states, email them and me, hook us up. We follow up on every lead. And all we need is 1 or 2 brave people who, start another chapter in one of these states. And it just takes going out once a month to a college for 2 hours, talking to kids with a clipboard, We can help with every single step of the process. So the 7 states we're in: California, Arizona, Maine, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Florida, and North Carolina. And 4 states we need to be in as well. Same thing if you know anyone in these states: Iowa, of course, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia. So, those are, and we'd love to help out in other states too, but these are the ones that are the most crucial. 6 of them are triple word score states where, every Democrat we register, at least in parts of the state, can help us with the House, Senate, and White House. So triple word score, and some of them, are just super important for the presidency. For example, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Florida. Iowa, so that's big picture, nationwide, what we're trying to do. We're also trying to register, if we're able to, we're trying to fundraise and scale up. All our fundraising is separate from our voter registration efforts. You know, we don't charge anything because, you know, we want to, our MO is to empower the groups on the ground that we form a coalition with. So this is how we open a chapter in any given state. We provide a voter drive in a box, just add you, you know, and so we can help with every step of it, from the training, you know, video calls like this, on a regular schedule, once every 3 weeks or so. But if you need another one that's not on the schedule, we'll throw one in to help you out. We'll help plan where to go, what day of the week to do it is best, what time of day is best, what hot spots to hit to get the maximum, you know, return for your hours, how to do this, where to get forms, where to turn them in at the end, every step. You know, we can put it on our online calendar, help recruit for it if that's something you want. Our calendar is reposted by Swing Left National as well as 9 other organizations and growing. And we promote our events every week in our weekly email that goes out to almost 10,000 people. Yeah, we try to empower groups on the ground who are already doing organizing in these states and team up with them so that, yeah, they can be our boots on the ground. And really all we need is one person minimum, you know, less than that doesn't work. But one, you know, or two, you know, go together to a college campus once a month or so, you know, and we hit other places than college campuses, but those are the places we hit the most. So yeah, that's an overview of how we work. And zooming into Iowa, why Iowa is totally crucial. It's a triple word score state, you know, we need to make sure it goes blue for the presidency. As far as the Senate, it is crucial to get Joni Ernst out. Republican, one-term senator. Let's keep her a one-term senator. She's the one who always looks like she's wearing a wig backwards. That's far from the worst thing about her. But yeah, she votes with Trump something like 90% of the time. Tries to make herself out to be a moderate, but is not. And yeah, in fact, suggested, I was just reading, she suggested impeachment for Obama at one point. Yeah, so got to get her out. Iowa could be the state that gives us the Senate, you know. And it is a steep climb to get the Senate. We absolutely must flip Arizona, Colorado, and Maine. And then we're going to need a fourth one because we'll probably lose Doug Jones in Alabama. And that fourth one could be Iowa. So got to get her out. And as far as the House, Iowa has 4 districts compared to California's 53. That's adorable. And it, as of 1 year ago, it flipped from 3-1 Republican to 3-1 Democratic, which is great. We need to protect those 3 Democrats. And those 3 Democrats are Dave Loebsack, Cindy, who won re-election, and Cindy Axne, and Abby Finkenauer, who flipped their 2 districts. So we need to protect them. Their margins were not huge. We need to protect those 3, and we need to, you know, get the Nazi lover out of office. You know, the guy who actually loves Nazis and said, "Why?" I mean, not an exaggeration. Like actual Nazis, hangs out with far right Austrian parties, and
he has a Confederate flag on his desk.
Although Iowa was never part of the
Confederacy. He actually fought for the Union. So it's like his constituents, I think he finally put it in a drawer. His constituents were like, our relatives died in that war. Like,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, tuck that old Confederate flag someplace that's not in view. Yeah.
Right. How many enemies of America can you be friends with at once?
Yeah. I don't understand how he keeps getting elected there.
It's because of the way that district is gerrymandered. Like, I'm from Ames, and he represents Ames, and people are demoralized in Ames that he represents.
Wow.
But you know, you get way up into that upper west side of the state, and you know, J.D. Schulten, I went there, I canvassed for him, I did a fundraiser for him. he got the closest anybody's ever got. He's running against him again. Kind of wished he was running against Joni Ernst, but well, that's another conversation for another day. And then, Loebsack is retiring. I didn't know that, Miranda. Thank you for telling me that.
Oh, thank you. Right. Oh, that's what I heard.
Yeah, interesting.
Right. Okay, so
Miranda, if you know of
which
who
needs
you
defending.
think is the best, yeah,
Also-
it probably won't. That just
Is that the one? Which district is that one? Is that
is
got Iowa City?
Iowa City, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
It is. That's the second district. So yeah, he won his re-election by 12 points. So it's a Democratic district, but still, as an open seat, it's vulnerable. So we got to protect it. Also,
and Miranda, if you have any ideas who the best candidate is that's throwing in right now, there, I always like to kind of know. Might as well start backing who's the best bet right away.
right. Also, I want to say Steve King, though he did win this last time, he won by 3 points. Two years before that, he won by about 23 points. Yeah. So, like, if we continue that trend,
that was a heartbreaker because we were there so much. But J.D. Scholten is a very good candidate for that district.
And he's running again.
And I think, a big mistake that they made is, we were talking about this when we had lunch, Jason, was not setting up that car ride service in that upper west side of the state. The northern western part of the state that he is, because there's a lot of people that if they got picked up and driven to the polls, they would vote.
Right.
Yeah. So, because that was a big thing with Katie Hill. She really had that going here, and it made a big difference. I mean, there was like dozens of people, ready to drive people to the polls.
Definitely.
So I think they're going to spend the money on that this time, and I want to do fundraising so they have the money to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great. So that's basically because of this, because of the lay of the land in Iowa, every Democrat we register anywhere in Iowa is worth their weight in gold.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be happy with the House, Senate, and presidency. So you can go anywhere in Iowa. It opens it up. That's the flip side of it. So you can register.
Voting, right?
What was that?
Same day registration and voting. So students are such a big part of it too, right?
Yes, that's great. That's a great feature. So so you can go to Des Moines. You can do this in Ames. Schools are our top spots. Community colleges are the best. When I was recently in Iowa a few months ago, I was going to a conference, organizers conference, and so like most people, I got off the plane and went immediately to the auditor's office and picked up some new voter registration forms, and immediately went to my closest community college, which was DMAC, Des Moines Area Community College, and it was great. I spent like an hour and a half there. I registered like 8 kids, and all, I think 6 Democrats, 2, no party preference. Great, amazing, totally works. I do have to say, by the end, it was getting difficult to tell if I had talked to this white blonde kid already or not. But I assume I would get better at that over time. Yeah. So
they all look like children of the corn out there.
Everyone was super polite. Everyone was extremely pleasant, that I met in general in Iowa. I loved it. It was really beautiful. So what Field Team 6 does is register voters. And, we do high traffic area or hotspot voter registration. We go to a place where there's good foot traffic and talk to everyone we can. We're an anti-table organization. We don't sit at a table and wait for people to ask us to dance. We walk around with a clipboard and a smile, talk to everyone we can. Another thing that separates us from all other voter reg organizations is that they're all 501c3s. Everyone that I know. We're actually a 527, and what that means is 501c3s are legally bound to be nonpartisan. As a 527, we're not. So this is voter registration unshackled. this is fun and empowering and super effective. And so, well, and of course, we go out of our way to be respectful to everyone, no matter how Republican they are. The more Republican, the more respectful we have to be. When it's hard, that's when it's most important. But we're also super proud of our values, and so that's why we will wear a resist hat, and maybe a no Trump pin or sticker, and a liberal looking T-shirt. This is not liberal looking yet because no one knows who we are, but give it a little while, But you can also wear an Obama shirt or something that says the word Democrat on it, or Moms Demand Action, or Citizens Climate Lobby, any of those things, of course. And you might have a sticker on your. That's very very helpful. I'm also going to put this. I have a file that you can just print out, so you don't need to buy any sticker. You can just tape this to your clipboard. This actually is perfect size for the back of a clipboard, 8.5 by 11, so it fits right on there with some tape. And I'm actually going to put that in the chat right now, so I remember. Here we go.
You guys can have like a corner of like a Democratic office, right? Like like if there's a headquarters in Ames, if I ask them if they could, give you, your person in Ames who's like the Field Team 6 person there, like some office space.
That's great. Yeah.
I might do that just because I think a lot of those same players that were there for JD the last time are going to be back there again because they really love him so much. I'm going to ask him if I can reach out to his people and, because it would be.
That's fantastic.
I think it gives people a feeling of ownership if there's this place they go where they have their little chair and their little part of the table and their materials. I don't know. It just gives you that feeling of like, this is me, This is my game.
And it's also, yeah, that's great. And it also helps to have a place to do a training,
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be an office. We usually do it outside a coffee shop or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that could be great. That could be nice. And what we do, we love reaching out to campaigns and working with them because campaigns, and not just campaigns. Also, of course, we can team up with a swing left chapter or an indivisible chapter or a county Democratic Party or a Dem club or a coalition of all of those. We try to unite the grassroots with the party. But yeah, we'll work with either one or the other or both, or a campaign. Campaigns are great because they have motivation to win, unlike a lot of state Democratic parties. And and they also have a pool of volunteers, sometimes trained volunteers. So they're a great resource too. Yeah, so I've spoken to JD Scholten very briefly at Netroots Nation earlier this year. So that would be terrific to team up with that campaign. Yeah, so what our voter drives look like in general is you go to a base camp, which is just a dramatic word for a coffee shop, usually. And we try to start our events somewhere where there's good parking, coffee, and bathrooms, the 3 requirements for human life, especially early in the morning. And, every event will start with a training so that you don't have to have any experience. And training is usually just a short version of what I'm saying during this call. Should last about 20 minutes and answer everyone's questions. If there's no one on the ground yet, we're just starting up a chapter, I can always do a training, say the night before or a couple nights before, like this online. And we should have, if you're going to a drive that's being led by someone on the ground, we should have everything you need at the drive, all the clipboards you need and forms. This is the super cute Iowa form. It comes on a pad like that, we should have stickers. We should have a sign-up sheet for volunteers. This is, if you register someone or if they just come up and say, hey, I'm registered, but thank you so much for being here and doing this. Hey, great. Would you mind getting one email a week with, great events like this where you can make a real difference if you have like 2 hours free between now and next November. And then if they say yes, get their name, email, phone number, and sign them up. That means they'll get our incredible newsletter that I write once a week. And it's a good way to hook up volunteers with events. So We'll give you everything you need, deploy you, dramatic word for send you to a nearby hotspot, probably a college like DMAC. Community colleges are our top spots because kids are not yet jaded, and you can talk to them. They're more open-minded, and there are a lot of good-hearted kids all the time who are coming of voting age who did not have politics in their family, or maybe they haven't been paying attention, and it's just a whole lot of noise and yelling, it sounds like to them, so they just try to stay away. And we're the antidote to that. We're micro educators. We want to register Democrats, but we want to give people that little bit of knowledge that's going to help a huge amount. So we're there to have these pleasant conversations and show them that politics is not just about yelling and ugliness. So yeah, we'll send you to a hotspot nearby, and you'll spend about 2 hours there, talk to whoever you can, go at your own pace. If there's anyone you don't want to talk to, don't talk to them. That's one great thing about this. No one will complain that the person with the clipboard didn't talk to them. And after 2 hours, come on back and tell us if if you had some good conversations, how many people you registered, hand in any finished forms, and let us know if your hotspot was amazing or horrible, so we can hone our strategy game over time. And then go back home with amazing self-esteem for a week, And so what we do, zooming in a little on like the technique, like the whole challenge of this is how to get someone to talk to a person holding a clipboard.
Oh yeah.
And there are ways definitely to make it easier. If you're having a good time, for example, people can read your energy and they're more likely to talk to you. If you're not wearing sunglasses and you can make eye contact, that's good because they kind of have to break your heart to just ignore you and walk by, like a weirdo. If you can walk alongside them for a couple steps or walk backwards a couple steps, they're walking towards you, that helps sometimes to lengthen the window of interaction. And when people see a clipboard, they assume something salesy is going to happen. So I try to be the opposite of salesy and just use my normal voice, maybe even experiment with how quietly I can talk, just to be real, because that's the only way we connect with our people and bring other people over to our side, is just by having a real interaction. It's all activism is talking to strangers, and it's that simple and ancient and powerful. Face-to-face interaction is the most powerful tool we have. Different ways of starting conversations. Some are better than others. Definitely experiment, use your own words. They will always be most effective because they're yours. They sound most natural. The first time you're doing it, I spent a lot of time thinking like, do I say good morning? That sounds so weird. I never say good morning to anyone, I just figure out what sounds most natural coming out of your own mouth. I always say miss and never say ma'am, even if she's 140 years old.
That's wise.
I wouldn't want to hear that.
I always say it's only acceptable if it's somebody who's served in the military or they're Southern.
Right. Right.
Generally, because I work in recovery or treatment, if somebody comes into one of my groups and goes, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and I'm just like, that is the way they have been raised. I'm not going to, besides I'm 55 years old, so I'm kind of a man, but,
I'm technically a ma'am, but.
Yeah, but I just, if somebody's got that Southern accent, or it's just something about the way military people carry themselves. I can always tell within 5 seconds if somebody's from the military, and they have been absolutely, completely conditioned to call anybody over the age of 20 ma'am, so.
Right.
But I'm the same way. Like I'm Miss is much better, or Ms.
I've also learned to really err on the side of just leaving it out completely if there's any doubt, because I, unfortunately, probably 20 times I have said, excuse me, sir. Oh, or excuse me, miss. Oh, hope you didn't hear that, because it's a guy. So you talk to a lot of people, you see all types. Yeah, yeah. But when you iron that out, different ways of starting conversations. Probably the weakest one is, are you registered to vote? Then don't beat yourself up if you say it. That's fine. But it's the most passive. It's the easiest for people to ignore. Um, uh, Excuse me, miss. Can I register you to vote today? It's a little better. Um, can I register you to vote as a Democrat? Is even better because now you're throwing in an IDing element. And those are the two things we want to do. We want to start a conversation, and we also want to identify people as some form of our friend, whether it's an independent who hates Trump. Hey, great, we need them absolutely. Or someone on the far, Che Guevara left / my mom, perfect. We want to register them too, that whole spectrum. Um, Che Guevara is actually a little further left than my mom, by the way.
Not too much further left than my parents. My parents like tried to. They were diehard Kucinich people. Okay, like
Kucinich in the scrimmage.
Very disappointed in me that I was a Howard Dean person instead of.
I liked him. I liked Dean.
I like Dean.
But yeah, so can I register you to vote as a Democrat is great. That's very straightforward. You can also say the most effective, and this is just puzzling over this as a writer for a year, trying to figure out how to distill it. I finally thought of something like, excuse me, miss, can you help me save the world from Trump? And then I had to work up the courage to actually say it. Once I started saying it, though, it turned out it's super crazy effective. You can, of course, use variations of that or not use that at all if you don't feel like it, but it really is effective. I also write these days, I'm saying a lot of, excuse me, miss, can I register you to vote? Just trying to get rid of Trump one voter at a time, and that introduces the word Trump a little later. But either way, help me save the world from Trump. It really, in one short sentence, you're creating a high stakes narrative with them as the hero. And it just showing people the stakes. A lot of people are like, all right, to save the world, I'll fill out this boring form. Sure. Like it really turns people around. You can also, of course, there's a million ways of starting a conversation, and you can approach people on the issues and say, excuse me, miss, can you help me fight for civil rights today, or fight for women's rights, or for the environment, or for more affordable health care. Miranda says, do you find Republicans can get combative when you're obviously Democrat or anti-Trump? The most common response, because we do talk to thousands of Republicans, most common response is, that's it. Because you're face to face, it's much harder to dehumanize someone. And, on Facebook or by text, it's much easier to be nasty. And that said, yeah, some people might say, no, I love Trump. Hey, MAGA 2020, woohoo, something like that. That's fine. Hey, have a great day, or whatever. Maybe they're just walking by that point. We're respectful to everyone. We're very proud of our values, and one of those values is respecting people no matter what they think. So nothing diffuses tension like respect. And so we show people surprise respect. Hey, have a great day, respect. Whatever. They usually walk right away. That's it. And conversely, really no matter what you say, 2 to 20 people will ignore you or be registered already or be international students. But there will always be a 21st person, and you'll say something like, excuse me, miss, can you help me save the world from Trump? And she'll spin on her heel and say, oh my God, give me that. I don't care what it is. I need to sign that right now. Thank God you're here. I'm going nuts. And then you make a connection, and hopefully you register her as a Democrat on the spot. But even if not, you get to let her know that February 3rd is the caucus, and this is the most important election of our lives. You got to get J.D. Scholten into Congress if we're in his district. Put his name in the air, or Cindy Axne, or Abby Finkenauer, whatever district we're in, and more importantly, even you're letting her know that it's okay to say the word Democrat out loud in public, and it's okay to not be racist or sexist. It's okay to believe in science, even, like we're out there. Every time we use our voice, we make it easier for someone else to speak up. So that's part of why we wear the hat or shirt or pin or whatever, or all of the above, and yeah, so those are great ways to start conversations. Other good reasons to register someone are, of course, they've moved since they last voted. They want to change their party, want to change their name because they're a spy, or got married. Uh, they or they're a college student who says, "Yeah, I think I'm registered. Oh, hey, let's make sure right now. It takes 2 minutes. Are you a citizen?" Just go right into the first question. Um, the more quickly you can go into that first question, when they show any degree of interest, even if they just do a nonverbal vocalization, even if they just go, yeah, hey, great, are you a citizen? Just take that as a yes. The more seamlessly you can go into that first question, the more you deprive them of that pause where they think, I'm going to get a bagel with cheese, or play a video game, and you register them. This is so convenient, what we're offering people. We're walking up to them during their normal activities of daily living, and they don't even have to make an appointment. It's like walking up to someone with a hot slice of pizza, like, except that pizza is democracy, so we're offering people a great service here. Once they are interested in registering for whatever reason, I always fill this out myself, and I'd recommend you do too. When we fill it out, we're going to be faster, more legible, and we'll hit all the fields that we need to. And they probably won't, because they're almost always in a hurry. And most people have no problem with that. You just say, "Oh, do you mind if I fill it out for you? I'm super fast." Sure, great. So I will, with that, let's go over the form real fast so you're an expert in that. And just one warning right here, this super cute form. So this clipboard style has the wire. A lot of them have the actual clip. This is very easy to just hide these super important questions up here. Make sure that tragedy does not befall you. These are disqualifying questions. So all this beautiful work that you're doing will be garbage. It will make me cry. That's so sad, because these are super. You need to get these top questions answered. So beware of that. All right, I'm going to share my screen so I can just go to a close-up of the form. We can look at that. Here we go. Share screen. There we go. There's that cute form. It's nice that it's cute. It helps that it's cute because it's less daunting. The California form is huge. It's it's longer than a clipboard and makes people think it'll be 15 minutes. So it makes it harder, really, to get people to register. This is helpful. So this is what it looks like, the whole thing. The back is blank. And I'm going to zoom in for my old eyes so I can see it. Here we go. So, yes, it starts with this sobering preamble. If you've been convicted of a felony in Iowa, your right to vote is taken away unless you get it restored, by applying to a judge to have it restored, applying to the governor's office. Most people will say, if you ask them, if you can register them to vote, if they're a felon, most will say, "Nah, I can't, I'm a felon," And then you can say, all right, and you haven't gotten your rights restored. They'll probably know if they've restored their rights, and we'll tell you that too. So probably a non-issue, unfortunately. That's pretty severe, this Iowa law. But the first question, are you a citizen? Go right into that. If the answer is anything other than yes, do not register them. If they are a green card holder or a resident, that's not enough. They have to be a citizen. Otherwise, it can derail the naturalization process, which is the last thing we want. So do not register them. Will you be 18 years old by November 3rd, 2020? That's election day for our purposes. If they will be 18 by then, you can register them. And in Iowa, as long as they'll be 18 by the general, they can still vote in the caucus, even if they're 17, as long as they'll be 18 by the general. Yeah, it's a cool little quirk.
It's a quirky place.
It is. Yeah. So many states' voter laws are schizophrenic more than quirky, because a democratic regime will take power and get to change some but not all of the laws, and then a Republican regime will take power and get to change a whole bunch back but not all of them. So you wind up with the weird blend, in a lot of states of really conservative and really liberal practices. Makes my life a challenge. But okay, so here, ID. Very important that we get some ID, if we can. Iowa driver's license is the great first thing to ask for, because that is connected to a picture and a signature. So if you can get that, great, and plug that in here. If they have a non-operator ID, okay. If they just have a state ID from Iowa, you can also put that number in here, and that's okay. And check that off in this unnecessary box. Below that, if they don't, you can get both of these to be safe out of an abundance of caution. Really, you only need one or the other, either driver's license / operator ID or last four of their social security. If they are a student from out of state, it's very likely they will not have an Iowa driver's license. In that case, you can use the last four of their social. It's federal law that students must be allowed to vote in the state that they go to college in. So you can get those four. If it's a young person and they can't remember them, one trick is to say, is there anyone you know who might know them, who you could text real fast, and you can save them some dignity by not using the word mom. But sometimes they can text their mom and get it, which is great.
I've gotten that text.
Yeah.
I've been the mom who's gotten the text. Mom, what's my social security number?
That's great. You're the lifeline. If they don't have any of these, I would not check this box unless they have not been issued any of them. Chances are that's not the case, and they just don't have them and don't remember them. That's okay. Don't despair. Keep on filling this out. And, if there's enough information, and especially try to get their, phone number and email, then the auditor will reach out, the county auditor will reach out to them and try to get that information. So, yes, try to get one. I would try to get both if possible, then at least one, and if none, keep going anyway. After that, date of birth is mandatory, month, then day, then year, full year with 4 digits. Sex is optional. It's okay if you don't fill that out. Phone and email, it says optional. We treat them like they're mandatory because they're super important. First of all, so that the county auditor can reach out to the voter if they need to, in case any information is missing or illegible. And second, because they fuel our phone banks and outreach efforts, which are, as you know, crucial for actually getting people to go to the polls. So, and that's a huge part of what we're doing here, and why registering Democrats is so important. We're bringing them into the universe, and that's just the right amount of messianic to appeal to me, but we really are, we're bringing them, that's what field directors call it when they create a door-to-door canvas or a phone bank or even a list for postcarding, is creating the universe. And they use different parameters to carve out a good audience canvas or phone bank. And these people are not even available if they're not registered. So this brings them onto the voter rolls where the entire GOTV machinery can target them, you know? That's why it's so important what we're doing here. Okay, so then we got some easy ones. Last name first, just to be confusing. And first name, middle, if there's any question of initial or whole middle name, do whatever matches their ID if they have one. Address where you live. This needs to be their physical address. I always ask after they say their address, any apartment number, just in case. A lot of people don't remember to volunteer that. Then get their city. The state will be Iowa, or you can't register them. Zip code and county. If they are experiencing homelessness, you can write down the cross streets where they're staying. That's fine. And they'll at least get to cast a provisional ballot, which is helpful. After that, I usually just say, is that where you get your mail? Usually it's, yep, okay, great. And then you can skip this part. This is only if they have a PO box, that's where this would go, or if their mailing address is different than their physical address. Below this, if they were registered already somewhere else, you can get this. This is not mandatory. You can also skip this if they're in a hurry. But, you know, if they're not, get whatever they can remember. If it's not absolutely complete, you know, that's fine also. If they don't remember their zip code or something, that's fine. Below this, very important, most nerve-wracking part of the form, political affiliation. So here, we're not allowed to coerce anybody, nor would we want to. We can't say, just be a Democrat. What's wrong with you? Come on. Don't make me cry. I will cry right now. We can tell them facts, though. So I start right away. I don't even pause. I just say, so political affiliation. So, you know, the Democratic Party is the one major party that's fighting Trump and the Republicans. Just start that basic. And a lot of people will say, oh, yeah, Democrat, for sure. You know, after that, I let them know President Barack Obama was head of the Democratic Party. And, you know, I say the words president and the first name Barack, you know, without any judgment, you know, which is difficult, but after a while, you know, it gets easier. And just to give them the most information you can, you know, they're kids. A lot of them just don't know. President Barack Obama was head of the Democratic Party. President Trump is head of the Republican Party. And then I go into some facts about the Democratic Party's platform, just in broad strokes, just let them know. So the Democratic Party is the one major party that's fighting for women's rights, civil rights, and voting rights. The Democrats are the one major party fighting to expand healthcare instead of take it away, and to make college more affordable instead of less, and, you know, to defend the environment instead of selling it to energy interests, you know. And there's lots of, you can mention immigrant rights or gay rights, depending, you know, how you just read the room and see, you know, what feels right, or whatever platform what part of the platform you feel passionate about, or you think they might feel passionate about. And a lot of times they say at some point, yeah, sounds great, Democratic. Hey, wonderful. If they say, no party, I don't care, no party, I would let them know that, you know, you do have to be registered. What I say is like, oh, you know, that's fine. Just to not be bullying at all, you know, that's totally fine. Just one thing you should know about, you know, if you are registered as a Democrat, you'll get to vote, you know, in the caucus for which Democrat goes up against Trump, you know. So I just try to simplify what a caucus is, and let them know that they'll get to choose between Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg and all the rest. And a lot of them do say, oh, okay, yeah, put me down as a Democrat. They want to be part of that. If at any point, you know, sorry. So if they still say, nah, no party, I don't care. Okay, that's fine. And we do check off no party, you know, and that is fine. We'll go on. If at any point they say Democrat, hey, awesome, thank you so much, Give them some positive reinforcement. Thank you. We need more of us. Your vote counts a huge amount here in Iowa. Need to get J.D. Scholten in, or whatever, depending on what district you're in. If at this point, despite our best attempts to ID them as some form of our friend, they say Republican, then we don't cry. No tears on the form. We stay positive, but we do say, okay, here you go, and we just take the form off and give it to them, and just mail that into make sure you sign and date that, and mail that into your county auditor, and you'll be good. And that's our legal obligation, to give them the form. We're not legally obliged to finish filling it out for them. We filled out almost all of it anyway at this point. We're not legally obliged to mail it in for them, but so we give it to them. And same thing with if they're libertarian. They tend to vote the same as Republican in the end. Usually that won't happen because we're wearing liberal-looking things and we're saying liberal-sounding things, and normally that won't happen. It's pretty rare. If it does, then we do give them the form, and they can take care of it. If they say Democrat or even Green, sure, or other, no party, okay, fine, we'll keep on going, and then we just get their signature and date, and be ready with the date, because they usually forget and just write the signature. Let them know the date, so they write that too, and then we're almost done. Let's see. We're almost done. Oh, and I see your question, Miranda. I will get to that too. But yeah, what we need after signature and date, we just give them, there's 3 things. We give them a sticker for, if these are available at your voter drive. For Saving the World, you get a sticker. People go nuts for stickers. They really, it's hardwired since 1st grade. Even a hardened killer loves getting a sticker. So,
They can't vote. The murderers can't vote.
you're right.
Only after they're caught.
True.
They could be a murderer on the lam.
They're on the lamb, or a lamb. If they're riding a lamb.
Yes, Iowa, that could be happening.
And if you're on the lamb, it's a bad idea to be on a lamb. They're very slow. You're gonna get caught. So once you get a signature and date, give them a sticker, sign them up, as a volunteer on that back volunteer sign-up sheet, and then just give them some basic education, 1 or 2 sentences if you can. Let them know we've got to get Joni Ernst out of office. Got to get a Republican out. You have to vote for a Democrat for Senate, please. And J.D. Scholten or whatever, Abby Finkenauer, get those names out. Let them know February 3rd is the caucus, and you've done a great job. That's huge, and just one word about, actually, let me answer this question. Miranda says, is party affiliation necessary for the primaries as well as the caucus? I believe you have to be registered as a Democrat to vote in the primary as well. Is that, Heather? Is that what you?
It used to be that way when I was in Iowa. So I know that was the old, because I used to canvass door to door, and that was always our. You don't want to throw away half your vote, do you?
Right. I will triple check that, but I believe you have to be. I believe it's a closed primary as well as caucus.
I think so.
Yeah.
Not 100%, but it used to be, unless it's changed.
Like 95, but I'll triple check that. I'll know for next time. And just a word about expectations. If you go out there and it's your first time, maybe your hot spot turns out to be a cold spot, and you don't register anyone, but in the 2 hours you're out there, you talk to 20 people going by and let them all know, Abby Finkenauer, please keep Abby Finkenauer in Congress, and February 3rd is the caucus, most important election of our lives. Get those 2 things out there: candidate's name and date of the next election, or caucus, primary, either one, whichever's next. That's great. You've basically done a canvassing shift, and that is, we go to these high traffic areas and let the canvas come to us. So that is not just to make you feel good, that's real. That's super effective. If you register 1 or 2 in that shift, that's what most state parties ask of their paid people. So good, 3 or 4, super solid, and 5 or more, you're a monster, So like, really, these are soccer or hockey scores we're looking at, not basketball, Just that context is super important, because sometimes people come back and they're like, I got 6. I feel like a jerk, Like, no, that's amazing. That's huge, These numbers add up like crazy, That's what we just passed 15,000 voters registered mark week and a half ago, because they add up. So every single voter counts. When you're registering someone, you're not registering a vote, you're registering a voter who may vote up and down the ballot for the rest of their lives. So, you may have just affected 100 elections. And that's why we give Republicans the form. So yes, you now know how to register Democrats in Iowa. It's that easy. We are looking right now for, it's cold in Iowa right now, most days. We're looking for people who are either on the ground there now, so that when there is a random day where it's like, 45 degrees even, that can be fine. They can pop out to a college campus near them and talk to some kids for 2 hours, register some voters. And we're also looking for people who, like you, who will be going there later in the year. And we can, hopefully by then we will have people on the ground who you can meet them and they can just give you the supplies and clipboards you need. If not, I can absolutely help with where to go to get these things and set you up. And part of the beauty of this, like stand up, all you need is, and this is much less scary than stand up, but like stand up, all you need is a mic and your thoughts. All you need for voter registration is, an almost free clipboard, an almost free pen, and some free voter forms, and we can help with the rest. Oh, here we go. Miranda says, what's the policy on doing registrations inside a college building? Would it be fine to ask them if it's okay, or should we stick to outdoors? You can definitely ask. We almost always stay outdoors, and very rarely get any trouble. Say, maybe 1% of the time or less, when we're outdoors. Indoors, I would experiment. I would see, we have some volunteers just go right inside and they don't care, even though we tell them, like, we try to stay outside, sometimes there's some bold ladies who will just go into a cafeteria and they don't care, and they'll talk to everyone and register a bunch of people. And so, a lot of times it's fine. Maybe a quarter of the time someone says, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to stay outdoors, and then they leave, So we get mixed results indoors. It's tough to find places where where you can get permission to be partisan indoors, Usually when you can go indoors, they make you sit at a table and do it the old, boring, depressing way. And they may even make you be nonpartisan. So, yeah.
I was thinking about in Ames, if you went to the Iowa State game,
Mm-hmm.
that would be good, or I don't know.
That could be good.
With all that tailgating and everything.
Tailgating.
Wow.
Yeah, big events can be good. In general, weekdays are the sweet spot. It's not, you can absolutely do it on a weekend. We've had great weekend events also, but weekdays like Monday through Thursday on college campuses are the best. From about 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's kind of the sweet spot, Monday through Thursday. If it's a weekend, I would choose other hot spots. College campuses are usually kind of dead on weekends. So I might try libraries, might try transportation centers, or, maybe the middle of Des Moines, if they're, on some main drags. Might try, I would first look for any big events. If there's, and some events are better than others. Gun shows, not so great. Vegan festival, definitely try that out, Um, um, what else? Also, Pride events. I know they're not every weekend, but if you're lucky enough that there's a Pride event, those are the best for voter registration. Probably number one best events of all. Um, yeah, we registered 251 people at Portland's Pride in Maine in one day. That was our best
Wow.
day ever for a while. Yeah.
I'm reaching out to my friend who's the gay Episcopal priest in Des Moines, who's married to my friend who's the city council member in Ames. And they are figuring out like events where a bunch of crunchy Christians are coming together.
Nice.
Those are my people. Those are my
Nice.
people.
That's sort of,
Country Christian.
Unitarians, Presbyterians. Where are they all hanging out?
Sounds like a delicious breakfast cereal.
Yeah. Crunchy Christian breakfast cereal. That's my parents, man. They're like, they're like the Kucinich people that are like, but now my dad just sits in the nursing home with my mom all day long. I keep trying to tell the candidates, go visit my dad. he just sits there all day long with my mom. Go talk to him. He's got a really good political mind, but he doesn't want to leave her side. So
Yeah.
nice.
I know it's
I
crazy.
canvassed inside an assisted living home.
Yeah. They all vote. They all have their they've got all their, they're all registered to vote in there, and the attendants go around and help them, and fill out their forms and everything. So
That's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I did that a couple years ago when my mom first got put in there. I was like, all these people, they get to vote.
They absolutely do. They
Yeah.
should. So, so this is great. Stay tuned for upcoming events. We don't have it yet, but I can't wait to put the first one on the calendar. If you want to figure out, what dates you're going to be there, we can absolutely, maybe maybe a little early. Don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But if I find Iowa people, because I want to reach out to my Iowa friends and see if some of them are interested.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Please do that. And let me put the Iowa training calls, the link to that in the chat right now. We're going to have these, we're going to keep these going every 3 weeks or so and just build steam, through the winter. And if we find people on the ground who can do this on a random day during the winter when it's not an Arctic blast, then great. And if not, we'll just build momentum so that as soon as it's warm enough, people can get out there and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So that's Iowa training calls. Miranda said, how would I go about getting voter forms, stickers, etc.? I missed what you said earlier about it. Okay, here, actually, I'm going to put in voter forms. Where to find forms is at this link. And you can click on Iowa and it'll show you where to go to get forms.
Miranda, where are you based?
Iowa City. Oh, hey, great.
That's
hey,
awesome.
Nice. You're on the ground. I didn't realize that. That's terrific.
Yeah, she's there. I went to Iowa City. I went to school there.
Oh, nice.
A long time ago. But okay.
Oh, okay.
What year did you graduate, if you don't mind me asking?
I graduated in '83.
Iowa.
Chip Wass and Jenny Lemish and anything. Chip Wass, Jenny Lemish.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Yes, you picked up both of those. I would definitely try Kirkwood Community College first. Community colleges tend to have kids who are from the area. And also it's both a tragedy and an opportunity for us to help that as soon as you go down that small income level, from a state college to a community college, there are way more unregistered kids. they just don't get asked to be part of the democracy. It's crazy and horrible, and it's also where we can do the most good. So I would definitely try Kirkwood first, and that is great that you're there. Whenever, as soon as it's not too cold, um, to hang out and to get people to stop. And the thing to think about is not whether it's, whether you can weather the cold, because you
Yeah.
are hardy
People won't
volunteers,
stop when it's cold.
whether people will stop or not. That's
Yeah.
important. Yeah. But that's great. You're right there. Um, so that's where to find forms. And you also said stickers. Yes. Here we go. Here's the link to stickers. Where to get stickers. This is, I do not get any kickbacks, unfortunately, but they're fairly reasonable. Oh, it's going to be nice this week. I'd like to get out there soon. That would be awesome. Every day counts. Every voter counts. So that's fantastic. I'm going to put a link to all our important links in the chat right now. They're kind of all together in one place for convenience.
Miranda, I just put my Gmail, because I have friends in Iowa City. If you want to email me, I'm going to put up on Facebook, friends in Cedar Rapids, because it's pretty close to Iowa City, and the outskirts of Iowa City and Iowa City itself. Let me know if you want to join with somebody from Field Team 6 who's already on the ground there. Just so you have some other folks you can hook up with there.
Hey, that's
Most of
great.
my groups are in Ames and Des Moines, but I have a few in Iowa City.
Oh,
I have some in Iowa City too. I'm going to give you mine as well. I'm going to start the same thing
that's
because some of my theater folks stayed there.
So
Theater folks are great. Theater folks, extroversion.
Yes.
Well, that superpower.
I bet you know Mark Fight then.
Of course, I know Mark Fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
He does a lot of stuff with Jim Turner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Miranda, that's great. I've been wanting to get out there and register people and was so excited to stumble across this training thing. That is so good. That makes me so happy. I wish I could go out with you there, that's terrific.
You should come to the caucuses.
I will come out. That's in my plans. I need to come out to every state that we're in and help out, and schedule some days of registration. Maybe during February. That might be it. I'm also going to put down there's a link to a Train the Trainers call for running your own voter drive. That's helpful. And honestly, you know enough now to do this. The way I got started was a guy named Christian Asperius, who was won awards for voter registration in Obama's campaigns. Super charming guy. After Trump's election, like Johnny Appleseed, he started going around LA County giving these free workshops in how to register. And I went to one and it sounded really fascinating. And so then I followed him around like a Grateful Dead groupie. And took like 2 more in the next 2 weeks or so and just got it in my head, and mustered the courage to go out and went out with a few friends and registered a few voters. Not a huge amount, but a few, and it was great. And I got hooked. And then I just kept doing it. And so you can absolutely go from here to doing this, if you want, another training call like this, I do them about 3 times a week at this point. You can see all our upcoming, I'll put this in the chat too, all our upcoming events and trainings at this link. Yes, so the first, if you go to any state-specific training, Iowa one will come around about every 3 weeks. But if you go to any of them, the best, the first half of the call will be the same best practices, about, that apply to every state. So that could help if you want. If not, though, you are absolutely qualified to just go out there and start doing this,
Okay.
And if there are any questions, I can answer them. And if not, I have to go do a Zoom presentation for an indivisible meeting.
Oh. And I just liked Indivisible Iowa. I'm going to try and hook up with them. Is that who you're talking to now?
That's terrific.
Are you talking to Indivisible California?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
It's who is this? This is Colorado, actually.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can reach out to them. I'm also gonna tweet at JD tonight and ask him if he can, and I'll tag field team in the tweet and say we had a confab tonight. We're ready to get on the ground in Iowa. Can you direct me to your campaign managers? Who should I be emailing? Is it your same team again, or are there new people I need to reach out to? Because I'd love to get us set up in wherever the Dem headquarters are in Ames for sure.
Okay. Yeah. JD Schulten. Perfect. I love that.
Great.
Just got to find my perfect person to be in touch.
Awesome. I'm going to save this chat. There we go. By the way, if you want to save the chat, there's at least on my Zoom, I don't know if this is for everyone, but in the chat box in the lower right, there are 3 horizontal dots.
Mm-hmm.
And if you click that, save chat is the first option. You just click that.
Aha.
That's great to know.
Yes.
How many Zoom classes have I taken and thought, I wish I had that chat still?
Right. I only learned that a few days ago from someone on the call. Awesome. All right. So thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you so much, Jason. And
Thank you.
I'm going to get on this right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. This is exciting.
In the chat too.
Nice to meet you, Miranda.
Bye.
Yeah. Let's flip Iowa.
Yes.
Woo!
Got to. All right. Excellent. For any reason?
Right.
Yeah. Let me know if there's anything I can help with.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank
Bye.
you. All right. See you later. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Miranda, too.